things that come to mind. This is why I'm like almost all of my casual jackets are vintage,
Yep.
and that is because most modern casual jackets are too long unless they're like a field jacket or a short coat or something that's supposed to be a little bit longer, roughly the length of a sport coat. Anything
Mm.
else is too long. Anything that's supposed to like denim jackets, like windbreakers, whatever,
Short jackets,
all too
leather
long. Yeah.
jackets. Yeah, and so for those of you who don't, who might be wondering, I mean, we lost like 10 people already again. But this is for the YouTube. So if you guys are watching this
Yeah.
again, hello. But yeah, so for what we are referring to is that when you look at vintage like leather jackets, I mean that is probably the first time I ever really brought it up fully on the uh on the blog, is that back in those days, leather jackets from the 30s and 40s ended a little like maybe like an inch or so past natural waist. They didn't just
Hmm.
end at a natural waist because otherwise it would be like a crop top, but it
I
would
love a
end
crop top.
near the waist
And
because
the effect it has with high waisted trousers is it gives like it's just a very like clean transition.
yes, yeah, basically yeah, the end of the leather jacket will go and end basically where the trousers kind of start. And that's not always the case because when you look at the 1920s, leather jackets were longer for some reason. Um, I don't
I
know
mean, I think it
why.
was because it was like more functional. Like
Yeah, could it be a practicality
yeah.
aspect? Because with a short jacket like that, it looks good. But if you're actually moving about, if it is an actual work jacket, and you like reach up on one of those shorter jackets, you do expose your waistband, I guess, and probably
But
wouldn't
then
be
I feel
ideal if
like
you actually.
having it closed up is kind of weird. Like if you were moving around with it closed up, you know what I mean? Like that's why you unbutton your jacket when you sit down, like so you can still move, as opposed to like if you're a leather jacket, presumably you're doing some work or you're doing
Some
something, right?
flying.
Some
Yeah, if you
flying, and
work.
I feel like you need some you need some
Well,
openness,
they
I
probably
guess.
weren't
But I
as
mean,
they
if you're
also probably
doing
weren't
like
as
work stuff, like
they probably weren't
flying, it
supposed to
gets
fit as
cold, right?
closely
You kind of have to.
as they did in like
That's
the
true.
30s and 40s.
That's true. The 1920s ones I think are a lot looser. I think when you look at A1 jackets, they are kind of
Hmm.
like they're a bit looser. But
Because they're
anyway, so
supposed
the
to be
whole
worn button up when you sit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
But
So
yeah, go
I'm
on.
posting some images into the chat here, and you know, it's just one of those things where when you see it, you can't unsee it. Like
Hmm.
it's just when you all of your inspiration kind of comes from the 30s and 40s, it's obviously going to affect you like us. And to us, it just looks a lot more flattering because when you're wearing a high-waisted trouser, you know, you you want the effect of the high-waisted trouser, right? You want to see the pleats and where
Hmm.
elongating your legs, um, and then I think it's also like a rebellion against like the whole 80s 90s where like you have like the oversized bomber jackets, the oversized A2s,
And I mean, the
you
other
know,
Yeah.
thing
and
is a lot of these styles of jackets just look bad when they're longer. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I like them, but I think like 40s and 50s gab short jackets look. And then you look at the like, windbreakers, fucking like polo pump. Doesn't look good. Trucker jackets that are too long end up like weird because they out at the hips. That's the same with. I mean, that's the same with a lot of these jackets that were originally.
Guys, I'm
yeah.
curious.
Mm.
Do you have numbers to back up what you're saying?
What are you
Do you
talking
know
7,
about?
exactly?
What do
No,
you
15,
mean
not.
numbers?
Sorry,
30.
backing up might be is the wrong word there. But I mean, do you know how long
No,
you
I
have an
mean it's
idea of
not.
how long you
It's
like to jacket? Do you
I
know
don't. I
how
couldn't tell
long
you.
that
It's
is?
like all my casual jackets have to be this. It's I know it when I
It's
try it
just
on.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. I mean that's the same
like
thing.
pornography.
Almost all actually
Because it's
yeah.
like
When you here, I'm gonna
I
put it
have
in the chat.
different I have a lot of vintage jackets that are of varying length. I have like a couple jackets that are really short. I have that some that aren't as, but they all hit a certain spot where you know, it looks good.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could codify with
Well,
numbers,
there
but the
isn't.
range of
I.
numbers. But
It's not. Yeah. Again, with this kind of stuff, because if you're buying secondhand, obviously different makers are going to be different. And if you take into account body stuff, I think I talked about this with jacket length. Just because you measure something hard measurements, right? Like say you have like a bigger gut or prominent chest, that literally the 3D image of that will take up some length. So even if it's a 30 length, it might be shorter on you or it might be longer, it might be different, right? So it's one of those things where you have to try it on all the time. And why Spencer and I, again, don't really buy too much from eBay anymore, uh, because we prefer to be able to try it and make sure it's right length. I don't think that we've gotten anything wrong because again, buying from the 30s and 40s is a great way to make sure that okay, if it's from that era, it's probably gonna be
Mhm.
short to begin with. So we've both been lucky in that regard. But like with modern stuff, I don't know, I'm not sure if there's a picture of me wearing a grizzly from Himmel Brothers, but I tried it on and Dave Himmel
Where'd you
was like,
try that?
that looks
That was
great,
at
and I'm like,
Inspiration.
Inspiration LA,
Oh
dude,
yeah, because they're
and
Toronto
he
companies. I was kind
Oh,
of
Yeah,
confused.
and he was saying, he was like, "Oh, this looks good on you," and I'm like, "No, it doesn't." In my head, I'm like, "No, it doesn't. It's too long. It's like literally
mhm.
like it's about to like hit my like the end of my crotch, right? We're like, and I'm like, that's not how a leather jacket, at least in my eyes, and the ones that I already own, kind of look. But that's
Exactly. And I mean, it's like
it,
this is another thing that might turn into Ethan might turn it into a blog post, or it might turn into an episode one
yeah,
day. But just yeah, everything is too long. That include like vests
yeah,
rates are too length. Even from
but
like good
Oh,
makers, they're still way too long.
yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so I mean, again, applying this logic to like denim jackets, what's it called? What else? Like gabardine short jackets, bloussons, even like the G9 Barracuda. I don't get how people like that thing. That not only do I hate like the
Yeah,
standing collar,
it's
but it's just too long.
it's
And so
one of your hotter takes though, even because barracudas are pretty beloved by quite a few people, I'd imagine.
Ethan just doesn't like standing
It's the
collars
it's
in
the color
I
general.
don't
thing,
like
right?
yeah,
I
it's
don't
why
I
I
don't like
don't
them
like that.
either.
I don't like the M65 for that reason. I'd rather have an M43 because I like to be able to, I like propping up the collar as if it was like a jacket collar or like a pea coat or something
I
like
mean,
that, right?
You can own both,
Like
I
and
that.
also don't like standing collars as much, just because I don't think they interact with like shirt collars as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
another thing.
they
I'm
sacrifice
sure.
yeah,
visuals for practicality. I
Hmm.
think that's the
yeah. And my life's not very
But it's like
practical.
I'm less hardline on standing collars because I have I mean I have the J Crew Barracuda, which I just keep in my
Mm.
car.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
Barracuda.
don't have one,
And then
so
Yeah, I
but then
remember trying
I have
the
like a
barracudas
60s
from J. Crew.
windbreaker that I really like that has that standing collar.
Right.
so
The
yeah,
J.
so
Crew
jacket
barracudas
length
aren't
is
too long, right? Or
What was
because
that?
I remember trying them on, they weren't. I didn't find them particularly long, but I was wondering what you thought.
Oh, Himmel Brothers?
No, the J. Crew ones, the
Oh no, I
barracudas
think they're
there.
too long. I think I mean
everything is
everything
too long.
yeah, everything is too long. At like
Everything's too
places like
long.
J Crew or whatever. Yeah, like every malt brand, everything is too
Yeah, I mean, it kind
Right.
of goes back to like how like the greater menswear world has kind of embraced high-waisted trousers, at least in that greater world, like the contemporary tailoring, whatever you want to call it. But ties are still too long, right?
long.
Like that's kind of weird. Where like I mean, I
That's
think
why everyone's
nowadays
tucking everything
we're
now.
starting to tuck it in now. It's kind of like a look. But overall, like I'm surprised no one has been like publicly been like, well, why don't we just make ties shorter so we don't have to tuck it in to our
No,
high-waisted
that is pretty
trousers?
interesting
I
though,
think
as well,
that
because
really,
Or go ahead, Kiyoshi.
I feel like that is a very subjective thing depending upon the person's height and their neck size.
Oh no,
Because
of course, yeah.
I mean, but I mean, I do get what you're saying, but I think you're probably referring more to the knotting point of the tie, maybe, rather than.
Well, I'm just saying because I mean, if you were to tie a tie now, like at the normal knotting point, if you're wearing a high waisted trouser at like your navel or something, or even if it's mid rise, it would still be kind of too long if you wanted it to like if you were looking at like the classic length of like just barely going at the belt line. I feel like it's just not there. Or if you do it, you have the problem of the back blade being way too long, and then you tuck that in,
I think,
which is what I do. I just tuck the black
yeah, I
blade
think
in. I
that's
don't
become
really.
such a mainstream thing in
I think
like
so
the
too.
communities that is the back blade longer, you tuck the tie in. That's why they haven't changed it, because right now it's popular to do those things. And once they
Yeah.
change it, then there's no more of that.
Right.
There's no more back blade, no more tucking.